Guys, like I don't know why it's not more prevalent in pop culture news, but man, Henry Cavill dropped some photos for the Highlander, and it's looking pretty freaking sick. Like I'm pretty damn excited. Now, here, look, Henry Cavill dropped some photos of Highlander, right? Here's why this is such a freaking good thing for fandom, pop culture, because he's, how do I put it? He's like the voice of the nerds right now. And he's like that one guy if we found out that Henry Cavill went completely woke, like it just I think it'd be devastating across the board for Hollywood. I think we'd be completely ruined. We're like, okay, there's literally no one left that we can care about. But oh, give me one. Okay, I'm back. So, and the reason why I say that is because he's been kind of like a champion for just nerdom itself, right? Like he's he's like, I'm gonna stick to the source material. Money is not gonna compromise my integrity. If something is, you know, antithetical or goes against what the previous canon slash content has gone before, then I'm not gonna be a part of it. And I think he realized that with, a little bit after Man of Steel. I think really with The Witcher, it's like no, like Hollywood's taking it too far. Like it's one thing to have creative freedom. It's another thing to really like just have the name only and destroy it and make it your own thing, instead of being creative and hijacking people's stuff. Instead of doing that, go and make your stuff, but you're just hijacking everything and making your crap, right? But Henry Cavill, Highlander, the reason why Highlander I think is probably one of the more important movies that we're gonna get, like 2026. I thought I was gonna have no movies to be excited for, and we're getting Highlander. The reason why Highlander is so important is because Henry Cavill's involvement. Like we forget, like right now, we forget like all the crap that Henry Cavill's been through. Man, like he should be a superstar. He should be a superstar actor. He should be, you know, James Bond. He should be all this stuff. He should be Superman. He should be everything, pretty much. Everything, because the guy can do it. He should be Wolverine. You know, like not that he should be, but he can be. But anyways, my main point is Highlander, right? I love the original movie. Is it good? Freak no. Is it a mess? Hell yes. Is it awesome? Freak yes, man. Highlander is an amazing fantasy movie. It's got everything. It's got your hose. It's got Queen's original sound, like original songs for the movie. It's got awesome action. It's got freaking Sean Connery, man. It is just a crazy, wacky. Like it's got the present day slash futures, fantasy back in time. Like it's awesome. Yes, the lore is janky. We got the shows, we got the other movies, and then it contradicts itself. But Henry Cavill also, from what I heard, he stated that he's going to kind of collect everything together and modernize the lore, and modernize what I mean is in a good way, not the modernization that we're used to. And the reason why this is so important is because Hollywood does not want Henry Cavill to succeed. I want you guys to think about this for a second. If he succeeds, right, then every project he's canceled or left to not be a part of it no more, Hollywood or those who are in charge are gonna start looking at it like, holy crap, maybe this dude is onto something. And then I forgot what the floozy's name is that is directing The Witcher. Like her career is gonna be even tanked within her own peers. They're gonna be like, oh shoot, so he was onto something. Your show sucks. Why would we hire you for anything else? And so a lot of people are in Hollywood probably don't want this movie to succeed, don't want anything that Henry Cavill's a part of to succeed. But what happens when it does succeed? Like this movie, it can't just be, yeah, Henry Cavill's been in some stinkers, right? But this movie needs to succeed, as in it needs to be amazing and it needs to be well written. If we get that, what happens from there for pop culture? I'm not saying it's gonna make the full pendulum swing, but people are gonna give Henry Cavill a little more leeway. The reason why we don't hear much of Warhammer is because they're trying to force all this woke DEI bullcrap, and Henry Cavill's against that. He doesn't want that stuff. He doesn't want female custodians. He wants, to be strict with the lore. He wants to be respectful to the fans and add on to the lore in a respectful, creative way. Fantasy has always been a part of pop culture media that's always kind of under the radar, but brings the most hope and magic back to the forefront, where we then later, like, it's always like a jump start to superheroes, to a bunch of stuff. Like anything pop culture wise, fantasy is, I would say, like the not only the jump start, but like the kind of like daddy of it all. Like you can't tell me that comics or most stories haven't been derived from like Lord of the Rings, or even before that, just having a mythos of like what we probably had, maybe not had, as in mermaids and gods and what all this stuff. Like fantasy was the beginning, knighthood. Like it's the perfect combination of realism with magic. It truly is, because we know through history what, before the technology's advancement in guns and computers and all that stuff, how it was like, at least from the studies that we have and the books that were preserved and all that stuff, right? So having a movie like Highlander, where he is very much in the forefront, like he is not only the main actor, he's part of the writing team. He is, I think, part of the production team, and he's just like a stickler with the lore, and he probably has helped kind of condense the lore and made it really cohesive instead of what we originally got. And I think if this is successful, every other project that he's going to be involved in, it's going to kind of jumpstart him to be the last of the dying breed of actual superstar actors, because he was meant to be one, and one of the reasons he isn't is because of the era that we got of woke Hollywood, and well, pretty much just that. But yeah, he like let's take a look. Let's take a look at this, man. Like, just look at that. Man, let me zoom in a little bit right there. Look at this brother right here. Bam. And what did he say? It says right here, happy first look for Highlander. This has been quite the journey for me, which I'll let you all about, which I'll tell you all about when the time is right. But it's a special moment to be able to share this. I hope you enjoy. Like, man, like two basic, simple, basic photos, nothing crazy, just like it just feels like it's actually happening. It feels real. Like, I'm excited for it. It's the one thing I'm actually truly excited for. We get like Knights of the Seven Kingdom. It's Knights of the Seven Kingdom has been kind of a surprise, even among Game of Thrones fans who know about. I don't even know too much about it, if it's like a book or if it's just kind of synopsis of Sir Bronn the Tall or whatever. Like, I don't know too much about it. I'm starting to watch it, and so far it's great. It's phenomenal, and it just makes me think about, just like, it brings back that joy of fantasy of like the hero and just trying to be good and maybe a really dark time. And that's like, unfortunately, most stories are like begin in the medieval time. Um, but anyways, before I get into that, most stories begin in medieval time, but in like depression stuff, like where things are in shambles, war, and it doesn't really talk about like we don't really hear a lot of the happy stories during the Renaissance time, during like the progression of technology, poetry, and things like that. We get like glimpses of it, but I'm excited for Henry Cavill and Highlander. I think it's gonna be phenomenal. I think it's exactly what we need, and like a mix of just everything. I'm not a fan of time travel, but putting time travel to with swords and then guns, and it hopefully has one-liners. And I'll tell you this: I do not want Queen soundtrack in it. Not because I don't like Queen. I have my own thoughts of Queen, but I think having it a new movie should have its own soundtrack that's catered to this movie. I'm a big fan. Like I love every Batman soundtrack, even if I hate the Batman movie, like Robert Pattinson's movie. I think every movie needs to have its own identity. Okay, if they could get an artist to sing a specific song or create a song specifically for this movie, great, and hopefully it's a banger. Like the two that I could think of was Top Gun and Highlander, Queen, and whatever the dude's name is that wrote the song in Top Gun. Those are the two ones I could think of that like the artist wrote the song specifically for the movie, and it became like a phenomenon, that song. Mainly Top Gun more so than the Highlander movie. But Henry Cavill, we should be excited for this. Like he's been giving us nothing but hope. He's the guy that's been really on the side of the fans because he is a fan. And so I think everybody should go and watch this movie, and hell yeah, it's gonna be sick. Hopefully it's gonna be sick. And I'm excited for it. But anyways, everybody knows Game of Thrones. It's a depressing story. It's about bad people being bad, trying not to be as bad while still being really terrible, and then less bad. That's the sum of Game of Thrones. It's kind of the sum of House of the Dragon, with a few good characters who apparently we know is going to get completely screwed. We already saw a kid get freaking, chopped in half by a dragon. And we saw babies get murdered, which was, it's just too much. But overall, like, House of the Dragon ended terribly in season 2, but there's still a little bit of hope left. I haven't written it off completely. I'm just not excited for it. I don't know how season 1 of Knights of the Seven Kingdom is going to end, but they're doing a lot of things right. The politics of it all, the way, like, they're not, in terms of jousting competitions, like the plausible deniability, but then, behind the scenes, people, or in the back of people's head, like, yeah, that was effed up, and then they have to kind of simmer down the situation by giving up something or giving something away, whatnot. But either way, like, the main character, he's a true hero. Like this is kind of bringing back like that joy of me watching original Star Wars or the MCU, or the jumpstart of DC, and like where the sky's the limit in a kind of a way, you know what I mean? But and I think, and I've always thought like fantasy is the way everybody should be writing if you want to start as a writer, to understand how like you can implement the real world but still keeping it pure and having like truly fantastical ideas come about. One thing, like, very hard to write a superhero movie or a superhero comic in olden days. You know what I mean? Like, or maybe it's not hard, but people just really don't do it. And I don't know how much it gravitates to the fans, but I can't even think of any that's like, this is a hero story in the freaking 1300s, other than a fantasy setting. But yeah, like, damn, I am freaking excited. Let me check on something. Oh shoot, man! Freaking chats everywhere. Viewer plus one. Sup, dude? Don't know what that is. But yeah, like, dude, fantasy, man, freaking fantasy. I think it's what's gonna bring back a lot of people out of the woodwork, as in like creatives, like true creatives. Like a great channel you guys should probably follow is Shadversity. He like breaks down truly like the historical facts of medieval times. I haven't seen him break down too much about knighthoods of Germany. I would like to see more of that. I know that it's kind of hard to study about that history because all the stuff are in German and they don't really translate a whole lot of um, like medieval works of the the times of Germany when they had their own princes and kings and things like that, and the wars that they had within each other, and also they did have wars with England and so on and so forth. And apparently, rumor like not rumor, but like I don't know too much of the story about like Vikings also infiltrating, German empires in medieval times before Vikings ventured out. I don't know the whole history of that, but yeah, like I highly recommend Shadversity if you want to get more into fantasy. I do feel bad for channels that were just based off Game of Thrones. F you, George R. R. Martin, you suck. You suck, freaking Major Wiener. But it is what it is. I think if you are one of those channels, like look at Star Wars Theory, right? He kind of had to pivot to news. He can't really do lore stuff because then he's not gonna make any money. He's dead in the water. Like it's one of the ultimate companies where like they just kind of destroyed everything and even people's appetite for what came before, where nobody really cares about the old lore in a way where it excites them to talk about it. Like they just bring back the love that they had, but there's nothing exciting. And it's all about the love that they used to have for Star Wars. I still have love for Star Wars, but it's nothing like it used to be. And fantasy, like for instance, for a good example is Tolkien, because Tolkien really finished his work and can still expound on it while it's still being finished. By Christopher Tolkien. Nobody else. I think it's kind of done. Like nobody else should touch it. And every story he kind of had an ending to it. Even say what you want about the Silmarillion, like it was to give you an idea and to add some more lore. But no matter what studio does something with the Tolkien's works, they can never diminish the love for the Lord of the Rings. They can never diminish Middle Earth, because Middle Earth is not only beloved, but it's a learned fandom. Like our fandom, and I'm not a scholar or anything. I just love Tolkien. I love, like, I hear a lot of people say it's basic fantasy. It's like not low tier, but it's tame. Like I understand their point. I totally get their point. It's not Game of Thrones where freaking siblings are finger banging each other and getting penetrated and people are getting raped. Like, but it's the most fantastical, most magical fantasy that we really have. Like, in at least as an overall, like, deep lore. Like, I love the Aragon books, the Eldest, Brazinger. Like, I think Disney has a great opportunity to make those books come to life. Like, I love dragons, but like the Lord of the Rings, there's something very beautiful about it, because he wanted to show people that like, my favorite line is in The Two Towers, where Samwise tells Frodo, and it in the books, where he's saying that there's some good left in this world and it's worth fighting for. And that's, I think, encompass all of Middle Earth. It's like, no matter how much darkness there is, there's always going to be some good that's going to be worth fighting for. And darkness will prevail if good stops. And it's that simple. It's that freaking simple, man. yeah, like I just think it's almost a disservice saying it's low tier, it's basic fantasy. I think it is clean fantasy, but the highest form of magical fantasy. That's what I think it is. Um, like the highest form of love and fantasy together, right? Like I'm not a fan of sex scenes in my movies and high tense sexual stuff. I just don't think it adds to the story. I think it's more like to get your monkey brain involved. Like I don't I've never seen a movie be the greatest of all time and always have something sexual as the forefront. You know what I mean? And like a love story is great. Again, doesn't need sex. I don't need to see sex all the time. Like Game of Thrones, I'm not saying like Game of Thrones shouldn't have it. And like I can't read those books. I could watch the show, skip some scenes, and I'm like I totally get it because there's things that kind of add to the story of like the situation. Do I need to see all of it? No. Do I like if you give me like if you are a good writer and a good actor, you can portray it without me seeing everything, right? But I don't believe that everything needs to be explicit all the time. I don't think dialogue needs to be explicit. I think dialogue should be explicit at times. I don't. I think if you're a good writer, it's gonna be very rare. Um, but fantasy, like it has that element where it's in the name fantasy. It just kind of takes you out of reality because even though you understand the English that's being spoken, it is old timey English. It is English that at least our brain understands that is not of this time. There's certain slang. Like, for instance, Game of Thrones for a lot of people, like just the cussing alone was like, holy crap, what? Like, did people really talk like that? And you could blame Hollywood. You could blame the censorship of books. You could blame a lot of stuff. But at the same time, like what we what's conditioned in our brain is to understand that in the past people were more courteous, people were more respectful, and there was less vulgarity in the world, right? Maybe more violence, maybe more barbarianism, but a little more civil, even with the barbaric natures of people, or at least an identification that they're of like who's a barbarian, who isn't, who is civil, who is a peasant. But yeah, I think, man, I've been saying I think a lot in the stream. My bad, guys. I'm freaking retarded. Fantasy, I think, yeah, fantasy will always reign supreme. Okay, across the board in pop culture. As in, it can't be diluted too much. It can't be overworked. There's so many stories you could tell. So many books that have been written that can be adapted. Are we gonna trust the studios to adapt them? Probably not. When we see Henry Cavill he picks a project, especially if Highlander is successful, we are going to freaking fall in love with it. We're going to trust it, because he's one of those people that, like, if he attaches his name to it, he's taking it seriously. There's gonna be some serious stuff about it, even if it might not be the best written thing ever. We know that he's going to keep it straight. He's going to keep it honest, and the story will be told in a way where the story came first and not any freaking messaging or allegory, right? I think that's why Henry Cavill is not only that, but he's just a nice guy, right? Like, he exudes Superman. He really has that personality of, I want to be a better person, and I think the world deserves more than just focusing on everybody's flaws and lack of empathy and all this bull crap that divides us. And he's an example, even if it might, like, we don't know the skeletons in his closet. There's probably some, right? Everybody has some. And I doubt it's, Epstein level stuff, but he's He's the guy. He's the king of the fans. The king of fandom right now. Damn. Oh yeah. So Highlander's coming out. We got Night of the Seven Kingdoms. We got House of the Dragon season 3, I believe, in August. What else? That's good. Do you guys know anything else that's actually good that's going to come out? Let me see. I don't know any other movies or shows that are gonna come out this year. I know there's gonna be a few sci-fi stuff, but I'm not like too worried about that. I know we're probably gonna get more monster stuff like the Dracula movie that's coming out, but overall, what we get if we just get Highlander, is Highlander coming out 2026? Let me see. Release date. Highlander release date. Okay, let's see. The Highlander reboot starring Henry Cavil, directed by Chad Stahelski, is expected to release 26, possibly later 2027. That gives me nothing. The project is anticipated to be a major film from Amazon, MGM Studios, and Lionsgate with production, including extensive blah, 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 blah. Okay. Oh, yeah, he did sustain an injury. But I think it's going to be fine. 2026 for fantasy. For fantasy, I think it's a good year. So far, it's a good year. If you guys haven't watched Night of the Seven Kingdoms, you want to watch it. And here's the appeal of the Game of Thrones universe, right? It's very familiar because of Game of Thrones, regardless of how much the last 4 seasons were rough or total, complete garbage. It's the first time where we really see a good character as the main guy and just really trying to be a good person in a messed up world while still having those messed up characters, while still having all the issues that comes with the political game in the Game of Thrones fantasy world. George R. R. Martin's writing style, like, it's very prevalent. I don't know how much he's involved with the rest of the show or his future involvement. Have no freaking idea. But if you want to see a hero within the Game of Thrones universe, dude, this is the show. Again, they're not very well known to land the freaking plane. But yeah, and I gotta say, I watched Lord of the Rings the other day with my son just to get a jump start. He was getting back. It was actually the first day of back to school in the winter, after the winter break, Christmas and New Year's and all that. And man, it just jump started me with like all this hope, man. And they're long movies, especially for a 5-year-old. So we're only watch the extended versions. Like it's sacrilegious in my home to watch theatrical. But we're at the end of Two Towers. We're right at the battle, right at the beginning of the freaking Battle of Helm's Deep. And man, like the beauty of just fantasy. And there was here's one thing I don't think Henry Cavill should be in. I do not think he should replace Viggo Mortensen in The Hunt for Golem. I think we were supposed to get it this year, right? The Hunt for Golem. But Viggo Mortensen was out, so production was halted. I think you should offer whatever Viggo Mortensen, like, money you can offer him to get him involved. Whatever he asked for, you should give it to him, because it's not going to be the same. It's not like Bilbo, where we could see a young Bilbo. Like, this is Viggo Mortensen We have the technology to de-age. We should not replace him as Aragorn, and that's it. It's the one thing I think Henry Cavill should not get involved in. Maybe if he wanted to be Baron in a 2 movie or 3 or a trilogy directed by Peter Jackson of Baron and Luthien, I still think the story of Baron and Luthien would be right up Peter Jackson's alley. I think it would be really, really great, dealing with vampires and Balrogs and Morgoth. Like he will have the horror element already set because he's a horror guy, and I think it's the perfect project for him to take on, especially with his love of Lord of the Rings. Now, I still am upset that he backed War of the Rohirrim. That was freaking terrible. How the freak do you fumble that, dude? How do you fumble that, man? And did they finally cancel Rings of Power? Like, I actually don't care enough to ask. No, scratch that. Don't worry about it. I'm not gonna review it. You guys all know it's crap. There's no redeeming quality about it. F you, Amazon. Suck my fat chode. Suck it easy. Suck it sideways. F you. But anyways, back to the beauty of fantasy. One of the great things about fantasy that I think is missing in movies quite a bit is how colorful everything was. Especially like the fairs and the food. Here's a movie I recommend that is a fantasy setting and is a comedy, The Black Knight, and it does deal with a little bit of time travel. So guys, I think it's on Hulu. It might be on Amazon Prime. Go watch The Black Knight. One of my favorite fantasy films, comedies. It's just a great time. Martin Lawrence, solid movie. But dude's like, yeah. I'm trying to think of all the fantasy films. I watch Lord of the Rings every month. It's been like, those of you guys know my situation. Like, obviously I haven't been able to sit down for a while, but it's been good getting back to it. But for a good 7 years straight, every month I watched the extended Lord of the Rings movies. I played it at the Lego store as many times as I could, and it was freaking awesome. Man, I should probably get a Lord of the Rings video game, like the old school video games to play on stream. That'd be tight. And the God of War announcement now. Here's what I'll say. Do I think the casting is good? Yes. Am I concerned? Hell yes. Here's the thing when it comes to bodybuilding. After a certain age, certain muscle is extremely difficult / impossible to grow. When you hit around 35, 40 years old, your legs do not grow the same. They do not have the same response. He lost a lot of weight. I don't know if he went vegan. He went totally gay. I don't know what happened. Maybe he got AIDS. Looks like a little bit. But, like, he looks freaking 80. You know what I mean? I think he has great acting skills. We'll see. I would like to see a year from now what he looks like. I think they need to give him a year of training. Natural training, because if he starts taking roids and training right now, like with his health, apparently he had a lot of health issues. It's gonna be, he could die before the movie comes out. Here's what I think when it comes to God of War. I think the first movie, and this is gonna I think almost everybody's not gonna like this take. I think it should be PG-13. I think it should be PG-13. I think it should be very much focused on the action and building the world. Kind of take a page out of, the Fellowship of the Ring, right? Building it, and like truly all the action and journey comes like 30% into the movie, and then we get the rest of it, right? And then make the second movie rated R. Because here's the thing, You gotta implement generations. The adults are gonna go because of the game. Okay? Since the game hasn't been very popular in the last, I don't know, 5, 6 years, you're going to be able, the old heads are going to bring either their kids or other kids are going to be a part of this journey. And then by the time the second movie comes out, and I'm talking about teenagers, then you could have a rated R rating and that fandom will transfer over. I think that would be a good strategy, especially if you're going for a whole franchise, more movies. I don't think you should do a one-off with God of War. I think it's almost impossible. It's a very rich world that they built because they're basing it off the video games and not just taking a character and then creating it from scratch. So I think that best bet for them is to start off PG-13 and then the next ones could be rated R and you can introduce titties and all that stuff that comes with God of War. It was the first game that I saw boobs on. Like it was, I went to my cousin Enrique's house and he was playing it and he's like, check it out. And he walks and you could see through this girl's clothes and I'm like, whoa, what's going on here, man? This is, why did it get hot all of a sudden? This is crazy. But yeah, it was crazy to me that there was titties in games. And then he showed me Grand Theft Auto and I was like, oh my gosh, like this is just a normal thing apparently. But yeah, and correct me if I'm wrong, was Highlander originally was rated R? I'm gonna watch it regardless. I do think, to bring in kind of that hope and that fandom, like movies should start really playing into the PG-13, and then if they want to take it, one step more, rated R after, like I'm totally fine with that. But I think the first one to really like be able to, for a collective to come in where you could bring your nephew, your kids, and just enjoy this new era of fantasy. I think it's a good idea. I think of the way, like, I love sharing the things that I love, but I'm not gonna watch anything related to Game of Thrones with my dad. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to see freaking dick on screen with and ever. But I definitely don't want to see like a sex scene with my dad. I want us to be able to talk about the fantasy, to talk, to be amazed at the battles and the nuance and the politics, and have that discussion. I don't want to freaking watch. I don't want to be next to my dad while, like, people are just banging away, dude, and orgies and all that stuff. It's one of the reasons. Aside from the terrible, terrible writing, it's one of the reasons I stopped watching The Witcher. I was just like, okay, all it is terrible writing mixed with nudity and then an action scene every 3 episodes with The Witcher here and there. And that's pretty much it. Oh, sorry. An action scene with monsters. So there's nothing for me to hold on to that was like, okay, I might not like this, but it's such a good story that it's worth getting through this part. To me, it was just always freaking doo-doo. I'm trying to think about the other fantasy shows. Like, I can't really think of any fantasy shows that are going to launch either this year or the next coming years. I did hear a rumor about another show in the Game of Thrones world, but George R.R. Martin's probably gonna die before the next show launches, because that dude, man, he looks prehistoric, man. He looks like a scrotum. Like, I don't know if he's going to, like, George R.R. Martin just looks like a straight up scrotum fool. I don't know if he's gonna live like another 5 years. Like, that's crazy. Like, the guy looks awful. And he'll never finish the book. So there you go. But damn, what the hell was I talking about? Yeah. There's things that I truly don't care about, like Dune, Wheel of Time. I could care less. what happens to it. I don't think they're gonna be any good. Wheel of Time, we already know, is garbage. Dune is sci-fi, so I guess you can't really say it's fantasy. But I would love for them to bring back, Aragon, regardless of how. I enjoyed the first movie. It's crap. I enjoyed the hell out of it. I'd still watch it to this day. Jeremy Irons is actually in Highlander. Looks just like the dude in Aragon. So that's kind of nice to see. I think he's taking the place of Sean Connery, right? Which obviously Sean Connery impossible to replace. But if they go at it from a new take and a new style of the character, then Jeremy Irons is the guy that can make it work. Scar. But yeah, I don't want to do a review of Night of the Seven Kingdoms right now. I just want to do a one season, like a season review, and it's just my thoughts. But I highly recommend you guys go watch it. I recommend The Black Knight. Obviously, Lord of the Rings. Like what am I, retarded? But one show actually that I heard Hollywood wants to remake, which depending on the people, depending on the studio, that I would like to see, and I still have to watch the original, is Merlin. I really need to watch it. Oh, and Excalibur. Those are the two that are the older movies or shows that I really need to watch because everybody keeps talking to me about it. Now let's talk about the Odyssey a little bit. I don't know too much of the reports. I just see the pictures, and I saw Elon Musk tweeted that Christopher Nolan has lost his integrity. Dude, that was the one thing I was worried. Like, I hope Henry Cavil doesn't go the Christopher Nolan route / Hollywood route where like he just gives in to the woke mob. Because even Sydney Sweeney did it, and it's like, whoa, the freak, man. Like, are we gonna get no one? I think the only person is Kurt Russell. That's like, hey, everybody, shut the hell up, and Anthony Hopkins, but they're not like in the fantasy, in the pop culture. You know what I mean? And they're very much actors. Yeah, it sucks to see Christopher Nolan becoming one of those. He's becoming a modern Steven Spielberg, and it's a sad sight. I hope he proves me wrong. I'm following the reports. From what I see is the casting. The story is getting put aside. Now, like, I'm more okay with the inaccurate armor because we have much bigger problems. But man, I am no longer have any ounce of excitement for the Odyssey. I just see like it's almost impossible to believe it's gonna be good. It's gonna be a flop. It just is. The Odyssey just can't survive the way it's going. Who cares about the Odyssey at this point? Like, there's so much negativity, and it's not coming from us. It's just coming from Christopher Nolan. Like, there's so much bullcrap involved that I get it. You want to have an Oscar, but who cares? Like look at Joe Rogan. Added to his credibility of not being part of the damn show because you have to pay $500 so that some idiots can tell you you're great. And he already knows. He already knows he's great. Christopher Nolan, you should already know you're great, man. What are you doing? You got Matt Damon. Boom. Go ahead and cast the right people. The crazy old school idea of the right person for the job got the job. Oh, who is Helen of Troy? I don't know, a blonde white lady. Nothing else. That's pretty much it. And what do you do? Because I didn't even know until I think it was the Joe Rogan podcast that this was a continuation of Troy. What the hell, Chris? Dropping the ball, son. Oh, you guys excited about the Odyssey? Oh, and I'm like, here's okay. When I was watching the podcast with Joe Rogan, Matt Damon, and Ben Affleck, they started talking about The Rock, right? And they talked about how, like, man, like that acting, and it's one of his best performances. They even brought up Christopher Nolan, where it's like, man, it was a beautiful performance by Dwayne Johnson. I bet it was. The marketing was pooped. One of the things that hurt it was seeing The Rock as like skinny. That was bad. He should have probably waited until the premiere or not shown up to it. Well, that would have been bad. But it's that element of like, oh shoot, like why would I go watch this? Like the actor is no longer that guy. There is an element which I know it might seem stupid, but it's in our subconscious. Like, for instance, my wife, she cut her hair short right for the kids because they're pulling on her hair and everything. But I want her to have the same hair of when we were dating. I want her to have the long hair. It's not that she's not attractive anymore. She's still the same attractive, but that's how I saw you. That's how I want to see you forever. And we saw you in WWE. We saw you go fluctuate the weight. We saw your painting game at your biggest. We saw you get freaking massive and then just go tiny like from day to night, dude. Like he should have at least prepped his fans like, okay, I want to take things more seriously. I don't want to surprise you guys. I'm still working out, but I'm getting off the drugs. I'm getting off, the heavy diets because I want to have longevity, and I think it's good for his longevity. But he's not. I don't think he's really doing it for that. He wants an Oscar, and he wants to get praised by these Hollywood freaking queers, dude. And he doesn't need it. And he is increasing his acting chops, which is great. But man, and when I heard them talking about that, nobody talked about how terrible the movie was, how the terrible marketing, the editing wasn't like all that, and they just talked about how great the acting was. And that's how even Joe Rogan, like that's how these guys think. They're kind of licking each other's balls at some point, not in any bad way, but it's like, oh man, like they're seeing it from the artistic point of view. They're not following the story like a fan, where it's like, oh shoot, like this doesn't make sense. Why did this happen? Like not anything political, but just the story itself. Like why aren't things lining up? They're just seeing of like, what did that actor have to tap into to really perform that way? Like what made him pull the blanket up like that? Like was that part of the script? Or they're thinking that way because it's their job, and so they see the beauty that of like a professional, but they're not seeing like, oh, I'm a fan of this type of story, but I can also be critical when things aren't lining up, when there's plot holes, when there's damage being done. And unfortunately, even like actors won't be able to recognize it. So like Hollywood's not going to change anytime soon. Right? And we saw that from the Grammys, like a bunch of freaking morons. They're like, dude, you sing for a living and you're talking about ice, bro? Like, yeah, ice ain't perfect. They've been effing up, but they've also been doing good. Like why are we always focused on just the screw ups? Like, why we can't hear about any positive stories? Like, and I'm talking about like people who are also fans of ice. They're not talking about all the positive stories. The news outlets are not talking about the positive stories. We're seeing the negative stories. Some were justified, some not as much. But that comes with the territory of dealing with humans. People react differently. There's training and they react a certain way. Adrenaline's high. Like mistakes will be made. Doesn't mean that the whole organization is bad. Like for instance, I like certain presidents. Every president I've ever liked has always screwed up in their administration, including Trump. but it doesn't mean I have to hate them because they made one screw up. Doesn't mean I have to like. But I know how Hollywood works. They're a bunch of freaking nut jobs. So I don't know why I'm even wasting my breath, dude. And yeah, but overall, I'm so excited for just getting back into fantasy. I like when I mess around with Lego, the two things I focus on the most is fantasy, medieval stuff, and Star Wars. And the past few years, like I've collected like a lot of Lord of the Rings and just make my own castle stuff, and it's been awesome, awesome, man. I want to get some sword replicas. Like I have a friend of mine got me a sword, but I kind of have to modify it and do some design. It's very basic. It's awesome, but it's not LARPing, but it's like actual role playing. Like they wear real armor. They go through scenarios. Like there's cavalry, and he got ran over by a horse, like just dented in his chest plate, and just was bruised for like a few weeks. So there's stuff like that, you know. But regardless, I'm really, really like just to recap. I just wanted to jump on for an hour today. Just to recap, Highlander it looks great. Henry Cavil, I hope he has a speedy recovery. I know he's still trying to like, and that's the other thing. Like that's what makes me worry about. Like going back to God of War, like, dude, when you get injured and you're older, your muscle doesn't repair the same. You do gotta take some drugs. You have to for it to get back to regular. Like, there's a guy. If you guys want to see what happens with age and major injuries, there's a guy named Callan von Moger. There was a film um, that he portrayed Arnold Schwarzenegger. He was a big guy. You know, he was one of those people that, like, they thought he was going to be a winner of Classic Physique Olympia. And I know if you guys don't know bodybuilding, like, he was so big that he looked like Arnold Schwarzenegger in his golden era, right? And he was going to compete on the big stage. Well, he was very adventurous, and he was like jumping. I don't know what it's called when you have the rope and you're going off a cliff or whatever. His leg got caught, pulled his hamstring, and just tore it. Well, it tore it so bad that his leg never got back to the same size and never recovered fully. He lost a lot of weight. He did like kind of get involved in drugs, kind of went a rough route, got tattoos and weird spots and piercings, and just kind of really started ruining his life. And I have no idea where he is now, but he tried to come back, like really focused on his physique. His physique never returned the same. And this is a guy who knows like the back of his hand what it is to be a bodybuilder, professional bodybuilder, and just couldn't make it back. So when I see like these actors, like for instance Dwayne The Rock Johnson, he might get his upper body back to a solid size, but his lower body is never gonna come back. You know, it might come back, but there's gonna be a slight disproportion, not how it was before. And so we're never gonna see The Rock that big again. Henry Cavill, if he's not careful, we're not gonna see him, you know, that fit for ever after he gets a big injury. And so like these actors, they can't stay big for a long time for, you know, till they reach old age, but they have to be very careful. They have to be very healthy and know how to retain that muscle and not super low body fat. But yeah, the God of War actor, I don't know how much he's gonna be able to look like Kratos. He has the face and the beard. Muscle size, I don't know. I also don't think it would be a good choice to cast the voice actor, the black dude. Not because of the fact he's black, but like I don't know what's going on with his face. It looks like he took human growth hormone and his head and face grew, but he doesn't work out. He's not. He used to be fit when he was in Stargate, but yeah, he's not. He would also be hard to put his physique into like up there. Like who was the WWE wrestler that I guess was it called him? His name was H or something like that. Like he's still a good size and he's old. He probably would have been a good fit. What I think when you're dealing with something like this, especially where only old actors are gonna be able to play Kratos, if you're doing a trilogy, I think you should go the Peter Jackson route. Just do them all at once, so that there is no possibility of the actor dying and changing. And it is a big investment, but I think overall, if you want something to survive and make a ton of money while focusing on a great story, like that's kind of the best way to do it. Like the Lord of the Rings trilogy is gonna stand the test of time. It is, man. Like you cannot redo it, you cannot fix it. But yeah, damn. Oh, I didn't get to change the thumbnail. What is happening, ladies and gentlemen? Let me put the fantasy thumb. Oh, look at that. Look at my dragon. I'm looking pretty good, huh? Look at that. Man, I need armor like that, man. And I need my stuff. Dude, I need to build myself a set of armor. I'm gonna cosplay that stuff, man. It'd be freaking sick. And ride in on a horse. Oh, but again, before I end the stream, go follow Shadowversity. Watch Night of the Seven Kingdoms. Be excited for Highlander. It's gonna be sweet. You know, I'm gonna watch anything Henry Cavil is gonna be on. I'll watch Warhammer, even if I don't know the lore. If he's a part of it, I think it's a good bet that we're gonna have some fun. It's gonna be solid, and it's just gonna be a good time. It's just gonna be a good time. I don't know, man. It's just 2026 is looking up. Some good things happen in 2026. Like I don't know why January felt so long. It felt like a year went by, dude. And this cold is killing me. And that's why some of the streams are shorter, because I'm not staying in here for too long. I'm in the garage and I'm dying here. But yeah, I don't know, I'm excited. Oh, and I guess He-Man. He-Man is one of those. He-Man and Highlander are kind of like parallel in their style in terms of like He-Man is more dimension, but it takes in the real world, and Castle Grayskull and Highlander has time travel. Technically time travel, right? Like they later introduced time travel. It's more so like living forever type deal / time travel. I forget, the lore is jumbled. It's been a long time since I watched the original Highlander. I should probably watch. I should watch it again. I just remember being really devastated when Sean Connery died. I was like, look at him. And he doesn't even put an effort to change his accent. Oh, a movie that doesn't put an effort to change his accent is what's his name? Kevin Costner in Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, and I freaking love that movie, man. I think regardless if it doesn't change his accent, probably the best Robin Hood we've ever had. I think it's freaking phenomenal. But okay, guys, I'm gonna leave the stream there. Like and subscribe, douchebags, and hell yeah, don't forget to keep up on your fantasy. And 2026 is gonna be chill. Peace.